So Periscope, hi Periscope. I'm waiting for YouTube. They're always a little slow. It was a little slow to start. You notice that? Sending data, but we don't. There we are. Hi YouTube. Hi YouTube. Waiting for Twitch. There's Twitch. We're all here. All our friends are here. Boy, oh boy, do I have a show for y'all today. Come join me. Oh, and you know what? I better tweet this. I better tweet it. Right there. All right. Why don't we get started? We got a lot to talk about and limited amount of time. So, such is life, right? Let's do it. Well, look at that. I hit. Did you see that? Did you see that? Why? Oh, no. Hold on. That's great. Let me... You see that? Whenever I transition, it shows the subscribe thing. That's because I have the wrong scene transition selected. All right, let's fix that and try this again. Well, I did update OBS this morning, so it figures. All right, let's try it again. Good morning. I am Dan Benjamin. It is January 7th, 2021. What a day we had yesterday. Am I right? We're going to be talking about that. I'd love to hear what you think about that. You can join me in a variety of different ways. If you're watching this live, you already know. But if you're watching this pre-recorded, you can go to youtube.com/Dan Benjamin. You can follow me on Periscope at Dan Benjamin, on Twitter, Dan Benjamin, and that'll help you find this live. Because I love when people show up in the live chat. And yeah, they're saying it's early. I'm an hour early today. I have to be because I have an earlier appointment that I couldn't move it. So my choice was either start early or do it late. And I don't like doing it late. You guys need this. You need it, and you need it now. And I need to do it now. I want to remind you all to like and subscribe right here. Ring the little bell so that you know when I am online and doing the show. It helps the show if you like it. It helps the show if you subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps me. It helps everybody because I love doing this, and this is the way you can show your appreciation. If you really want to show your appreciation, then you can go to patreon.com/Dan Benjamin. Give me $1. Give me more. I'm working on some cool things for y'all that'll take place over there. So I sure do appreciate those of you who are supporting and helping. It means a lot. It means I can do this show and pay my bills at the same time, because if I'm doing this show, it means that I'm not coding. It means that I'm not doing another show that might make money, and I need to make some money. So thank you for that. Speaking of making money, and before we get into the news, because I've got a lot to talk about in the news, I just got an email. I don't know if you know this, but I do voiceover work. And I decided I wanted to do more of it, and not just the bigger projects. You know, I've done some work for some different universities and things who want voiceover work or interviews or things like that. But I thought it might be kind of fun to do just random stuff, like whatever you guys think of, I would do it. And so I went onto Fiverr, and I put my little voiceover stuff on Fiverr, and like, I'm getting work through Fiverr now. It's kind of cool. Yesterday's project was an outgoing voicemail for some company that's having an event, and they had like a 3-sentence voicemail they wanted me to do. And so I just got an email right before the show started from Fiverr saying that my gig, that's what they call it when you do something like this on Fiverr. They call it a gig. Okay. Congrats. We couldn't help but notice your potential to really succeed on Fiverr. So our Fiverr editorial team has hand-selected your gig for a Rising Talent badge. So come on. I've got, who changes every... Yeah, so I got a Rising Talent badge. So if you want my voice in a variety of different styles, all which are there as demos, including the monster truck rally one. Should I play that on the show, guys? Do you think I should play that on the show? I think... All right. That's what happens when I type on the wrong keyboard. Sorry about that. Let me play this one for you. if I can find it. No, I can't find it. Darn. They make it. Let me see. Oh, yeah, because I've got to do a manual search on Fiverr for you. No, get out of here. Pop-ups. I'm not showing you this because you can't see my secrets. There it is. All right. So here, this is my. Oh, look, who's that guy? I know that guy. So I will record a voiceover narration. So I'm gonna play for you one of the samples. I'll play the first sample. So enjoy this sample. You got to click pause and then play again. Oh, so isn't not who comes in here and changes my audio setup every day? Someone comes in here and changes this. I know that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, please send the audio to the screen that I use to monitor myself. I'll tell you what, Windows. You are electric. All right, let's try and start this out. This is just how my day is going to go.
Welcome to Basecamp, the all-in-one toolkit for working remotely. You're wondering how you'll quickly transition your team to remote work. People are stressed.
Right, so that's just a sample, right? But here's the monster truck one.
Sunday. Get ready, Raleigh, for the biggest monster truck rally of the year. This Sunday, Dorton Arena is going to explode when two of the biggest monster truck rivals go head-to-head. Gravedigger versus the Punisher. It's metal-twisting action from 7 to 10 p.m. Dorton Arena, monster trucks this Sunday from 7 to 10 p.m. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. That's me, friends. That's me. So if you want this, go on to Fiverr and I'll record for you. All right. Now, I'm laughing and having fun, but what happened yesterday is completely insane. I assume everybody watching me right now understands the seriousness of this situation. It's absolutely crazy. I felt like we needed a little brevity to start things off because I don't know what kind of day we're in for today. A lot of you saying hi to me in the chat room. Hey, Brian and me, lead champion, and Josh and Frankman and Brian and Ivan and all of you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. It means a lot. Let's just start with this BBC post. I always like to use the BBC as how does the rest of the world think about us? This is what they say. Capitol riots. Congress certifies Joe Biden's victory after a violent disruption. And here is a photograph of the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol. Now, regardless of which side of this issue that you might be on, and I understand that I have people from all different political points of view watching this. And if you've heard me talk about it before, you know that I am not affiliated with or associated with or in agreement with any party at all. I have my own philosophies that don't line up with everything anywhere else. And so I try to report this stuff in a way that is as unbiased as possible because I think especially all of this is messed up. Regardless of which side you're on, it's completely messed up. So let me just read a little bit of what's here in this article. It says lawmakers resumed the session that was disrupted, if you remember, in the middle of the day, after police managed to remove the mob, which had been encouraged, reading the article, encouraged by President Donald Trump in a bid to overturn his defeat. The certification clears the way for Mr. Biden to be sworn in January 2nd. And afterwards, although I have not been able to find a direct quote, but there are many, many media sources that say that President Trump pledged an orderly transition of power. I keep hearing that. And I actually have several different articles in here. Here's another one from the Washington Times saying Congress affirms the Biden win. This didn't happen. This was not actually happening until something like 3:30 in the morning when the actual session ended. But again, I keep hearing this quote from President Trump saying, on the one hand, that the election was stolen and that there is fraud. But then I've also been hearing that he is now saying that there will be a transfer of power. A lot of people are saying that, and there's Ryan. Hey, Ryan, my buddy Ryan in the chat room, saying that he's embarrassed to be an American today after the annex yesterday. Don't say that, Ryan. I'm not picking you out, but I've heard a lot of people say this. Don't say that you're embarrassed to be an American. Say you're embarrassed of those Americans. You're embarrassed that they are Americans. You should never be embarrassed to be an American, and those people don't have to represent you. And what those people showed to the rest of the world does not represent me. It doesn't represent, listen, I think if you want to protest and you want to do it in a way that is organized, do it. But when you start destroying property of any kind, anyone who destroys any kind of property, that's unacceptable to me. Now, there have been a lot of people pointing out the different response that our government, our police force have had to different kinds of protests, peaceful or violent. Those are not equal responses. That's very clear. And there is a lot of outrage today saying, look at what happened yesterday in our Capitol. Okay. And look at the response that was met with when other peaceful protests have been met with a very different kind of response. That's interesting for us to think about as Americans, isn't it? And the truth is there on film, and it's something we all need to think about. But Ryan, I don't want you to be embarrassed. I want you to be embarrassed of those people. Thank you. He's corrected it and said more accurately embarrassed of Americans who took those actions. I'm with you 100%. I don't know. Did you see that shot though of the people busting down the doors, smashing through the doors and the windows to get in, and then once they're inside, they're staying in between the velvet ropes, and people just expanding, moving the velvet ropes out just a little bit. Like, that's a weird thing to me. They stayed inside the velvet ropes after smashing through the doors and illegally entering the building. Like, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's crazy. Some more people in the chats are saying, I heard Trump was suspended on social media. That's something I want to talk about too, but I can talk about that now, Brian. He was suspended for a limited period of time on Twitter, and then Facebook followed suit. But it is not a permanent suspension. It's temporary. So he may even be back to being able to tweet again now. But I thought that was interesting, and I thought that was interesting the timing of that as well. Robert Curry, thank you, super listener there, Robert Curry says, Dan Scavino tweeted it, but there's no official release. So I want an official release. I want to actually hear it, because the last thing that I heard Trump say was that there is no way that he will ever concede. Now, is he playing a semantics game? In other words, is he saying, I will not concede there was election fraud or something like that? Is he saying that, but then going to accept the decision that was made? See, these are the questions that I have. So I want something official. Other people, Frankman, saying that the statement came via Dan Scavino. I just want to hear this. I want to read it. I want a link that I can link to. I want something official, because that without that, people are going to say it's fake news. Okay. Anyway, back to this article. It says that the objections were raised over the vote counts in states like Arizona, Pennsylvania. They were voted against. And so basically what happened was that at wasn't I saying that it was at something like 3:40 in the morning or something like that? Pence finally said that the ballots had been counted at 3:40 a.m. on Thursday. And here's the quote about that. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for president of the U.S. is 538, of which a majority is 270. Joseph R. Biden of the state of Delaware received for president of the U.S. 306 votes. Donald Trump of the state of Florida has received 232. And that means that the actual ceremony on the 20th can happen. So we'll have to see. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I mean, it seems like it's going to happen, right? But is it going to happen? And here's the closest thing I could find to a quote. Trump reluctantly pledges orderly transition. But again, I don't see. Now, here's what it says. It says there was a statement from the president released through Dan Scavino's Twitter account at 3:50 a.m. saying, quote, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th, even though he disagreed. That, to me, I still don't consider Twitter to be news the same way that I would consider it to be news if it was on, a paper of record. But I feel like my responsibility as an American is to be embarrassed of those people and the way that they went about it. I support everything that they felt. And I certainly understand the frustration that the people who believe that there was fraud or other things are feeling, and they want to demonstrate and they want to show their anger about this. But you don't do it that way. You have to have respect for our institutions. You have to have respect for I don't know what the right word is, but for our institutions and our democracy as a whole. That's important. And if you find fault with it, it's important to express that too, but do it without terrorizing people. I'm not using the word terrorist, but the people in Congress were terrorized, man. I mean, like, there's no other way to say it. Whether you agree or not with what they were doing, it doesn't make the way they went about doing it right. That's my opinion. Sorry. But here's a very important point. And I want to bring this up too, because I'm a nerd and I used to be in IT. So here's something to think about. And this was very well said by Sam_Rigby on Twitter. And I'll read what he says in this long tweet thread here. He says, I know no one wants to think about this, but every piece of technology tied to the Capitol needs to be replaced. Every computer, every phone, every monitor, every patch cable, every network switch, every server, every keyboard and mouse, every wireless access point. He continues, every piece in the chain between a congressional office and the internet should be treated like it's been compromised. All of it. Any tech that was in the building or tied to the same servers and switching infrastructure as the Capitol building should be destroyed. Replacing network cables may seem overkill, but ask yourself if you think every rep, senator, congressional staffer who works in the Capitol would know the difference between an Ethernet cable with a small adapter attached to it and one without. And I can tell you, Raspberry Pi, not that big. That's something that you could go and buy right now for a couple $100, put Linux on there, put monitoring on there, and plug that in. Just plug it into some little port somewhere out there, anywhere in that building, in that facility. And guess what? You've got the perfect setup for a man-in-the-middle attack. You can monitor traffic. You can do so much with just that. So who's to say that one of the people who walked into that building yesterday when the doors were burst open, that they didn't have a little device in their pocket that they just plugged into something somewhere in someone's office? I'm not saying it's a listening device. I'm saying it's a network listening device. Now they go and they park somewhere outside, not too far away in their car, open their laptop, and essentially they're on that network now. I mean, that's very realistic. Not all of the people who were in there might have just been there to protest. Do you see what I'm saying? Josh MXVI says, any foreign embassy could have sent someone in with that mob. Exactly. Exactly. Does this concern you? I think it should concern you a lot. Do you think they'll replace a single network switch? Do you think they'll replace a single piece of cabling? No. But if you were able to go and stand up at that podium and sit in someone's office chair, who knows? Who knows? That should concern you. Concerns me. So did you know how D.C. came to be? Washington, D.C.? Did you know this story? I didn't know this. It's connected to something called the Pennsylvania Mutiny of 1783. So I'll read to you some of this Wikipedia page because I found this to be fascinating. The Pennsylvania Mutiny of 1783, also known as the Philadelphia Mutiny, and I'm from Philly, of course, was an anti-government protest by nearly 400 soldiers of the Continental Army in June of 1783. The mutiny and the refusal of the Executive Council of Pennsylvania to stop it ultimately resulted in the Congress of the Confederation vacating Philadelphia and the creation of a federal district, aka Washington, D.C., as the nation's capital. This is in the show notes if you're interested in all of this. But yeah, they had to move the government. And there are a whole bunch of theories as to why this actually happened. But they basically said, we got to get out of here. And this is how the District of Columbia was founded. pretty fascinating. I didn't know this story. Brian McDonough says, who's making the replacement equipment? Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they got it from in the first place, and you could question that. But let's just say it was valid, right? Let's just skip and say that what was in there before was valid, but we need to do something about that. I didn't get much sleep last night. Did you get much sleep last night? I know everybody that I know was awake very, very late, and struggling today to just figure out what's going on. I was not very productive yesterday. I'll admit that. I was just kind of glued to the events that were transpiring. And somehow, though, I managed to find one piece of news that is just not getting the attention that it deserves. And I want to tell you guys about this. This is serious stuff. It's serious stuff. KFC has rolled out a new chicken sandwich, announcing that the chain is playing to win in the chicken sandwich wars. This comes after the news that Popeyes has released its own really popular chicken sandwich. KFC, they are not going to stand by and watch this happen. They're just not. They're ready to play for keeps. Okay. So here's the article that I'm reading, and this article is, of course, by Michael Bartiromo.
What's your name, dude?
Much like Bluto trying to win the affections of olive oil, America's major fast food chains are still tirelessly courting the public with new iterations of their chicken sandwiches. But also like Bluto, they remain largely unaware that Popeye, or in their case, Popeyes, will very likely remain the front runner. So now let me ask you something about this. I have two questions about this. One, how would you like to be yesterday, Michael Bartiromo?
That's your name, dude.
Tasked with writing this article. With everything that's going on in our nation's capital, Michael has to be the guy who has to write about the new KFC sandwich. Michael probably went to college. Michael probably went to journalism school and has a degree in communications with a focus in journalism. And on a day when our capital is being ransacked and occupied, on a day when our president-elect is being contested, on the day that the Electoral College votes are being questioned, Mike, we're going to need you to write an article about KFC and their new sandwich, okay? And he's like, this is what I went to college for? This is why I'm here, huh? Okay.
Me too. I'm excited too.
And the second point is KFC had to announce that they have a new sandwich coming out in the midst of all of this. Can you imagine? Can you imagine this? I feel like it's not the right day to do this stuff. Yes, Josh in the chat says, thank you for your service, Michael. Indeed. Yeah. Brian says, I loved watching all the pre-timed tweets getting posted during the events of yesterday. You know, like I got these cool stickers. A buddy of mine I don't see him talking in the chat room, but my friend Keith had these made a while back, and he's been surreptitiously going, can you see this? I need to get a second camera for close-up shots. Can you see this without the too much glare from the stuff? This is me. Stickers of me that he had printed up from my avatar. And he's been going around Austin and putting them up in different places. So now I've got a whole stack of these because when he came to have lunch yesterday, he gave me these. So people want them. I posted them on Instagram and got a couple hundred likes on it. People want these. If you really want these, I'll do them. I'll sell them, or I'll make mugs or something, because I'm already working on new bacon method mugs. But like, could I have announced those yesterday? I don't know. Like, that seems weird. You can't talk about anything else, so I'm waiting. Oh man, I gotta go, or else I'll be late to my appointment. But I appreciate you tuning in. hopefully we can all get a little bit more sleep, and today will be a little bit better. Let's cross our fingers. But I'll be back tomorrow, probably at the regular time, 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern. I just had to talk about some of this with you guys before my appointment. And who knows, maybe I'll do a second one of these later if there's enough insanity to talk about. I just don't know anymore. I'm a little out of sorts today, and I didn't sleep much. So sorry if today was a little weird, but I appreciate you all tuning in again. Like and subscribe. I'm Dan Benjamin. Ring the bell, all of that good stuff. And if you care about the work that I do and want to support me, patreon.com/Dan Benjamin. Otherwise, I'll do some ads. I don't want to do ads, but I might have to. So that's it. That's all I got for today.